everyone. Richard Fredrickson here with you in downtown Joliet at Cass in Chicago. And we're at the brand new restaurant, Juliet's. And what a great place. And we want to make sure that you get down here in the not too distant future. It's just a gorgeous place. We'll talk about it a little bit later. We're going to introduce you to the young man who is the owner of Juliet, as well as a few other restaurants that he has lined up and ready. And many are already open, and some are on the horizon to be open. We'll talk about that as well coming up here in just a moment or so. So we want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy as we introduce you to Mr. Carmen Rossi. Carmen is a young man, and as he'll tell you, he's from Will County, and he's returning here to his home county and starting this fabulous new restaurant. So Carmen, welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself, and so the folks get to know you a bit better.
Well, thank you very much for joining us over here. It is an absolute pleasure to be spending some time with you and certainly the viewers. A little bit of background. I am a Frankfort native, born and raised Will County. I'm a graduate of Lincoln Way High School. I was a graduate of the last class actually that graduated before the split. So I got to go 2 years at East and 2 years at Central. Then I went to the University of Illinois down in Champaign. I racked up a couple of degrees, political science, English, marketing for a master's, and ultimately ended in law school, where I graduated in just a couple of years ago, 2012. While I was in law school, I clerked for our state's attorney, Jim Glasgow, and that was in my second year. I actually did a little bit of work, although I use that word too generously, on the infamous Drew Peterson trial. And then I worked for a civil litigation firm right down the street on Jefferson, Block Lucas Manzella, right across the street from the courthouse. But it was shortly after I took the bar and started practicing full-time that I dove into my first restaurant in Chicago.
Well, you have more degrees than a thermostat. A thermometer, I mean. The marketing degree, the political science degree, the law degree, and then you dive into this restaurant business. I'm curious, what does Mom and Dad think about all of this when you say, hey Mom, hey Dad, I've got this great idea and I want to become a restaurateur?
Yeah, I think I subconsciously use the word dive as not to be sensationalist, but to be rather literal. My parents were good conservative parents, cautious of my latest decision and career choice. I don't know if they shared the same excitement and zeal as I had, but determined as I was, while I was in school, I worked for as a full-time student at U of I worked in some of the campus bars, to spend the time. I was the manager at a couple of bars at the U of I. And that kind of created this sense of the industry. And by industry, I mean hospitality. Hospitality to me is service first. I like to really discuss with my management team and my staffs the difference between service and hospitality. And I think when I flush that out, it really outlines where my passion comes from, that being hospitality. Running food, making a drink, opening the doors, having the lights on, the TVs, bringing food out, that's service. We can imagine that that's a little bit more service-oriented. Hospitality is what is creating the relationship, engaging with the customers, building long-term relationships, allowing for our diners and customers and friends to come in and really experience what we're here to offer. An intimate setting, a good meal. So
a thought just occurred to me. You're such a nice guy, and this other guy that's got this reality show that comes in and yells and screams, and it was Bar, whatever that thing is called, on
Bar Rescue, I think.
Bar Rescue, yeah. Well, you don't need any rescuing, not with your success record. It's just phenomenal, because if you've caught the years I mean, this is 2014, and in such a short time. We could talk about Juliet, don't worry, but how many restaurants have you, not the ones you could be opening up in the future, how many do you have right now?
5.
5 restaurants.
Yeah, and we've got 3 on the horizon.
Yeah.
So
we're going to go through those 5, and then we'll talk a little bit about the 3, but I want to talk about Juliet, Chicago and Cass Street. And I kind of know why you opened up here, because you're, from Frankfort, from Will County, but it has to be more than that, because even a love of hospitality and a love of restaurants, you still have to get to that bottom line. So what was that linchpin that said, okay, I'm going to open up here in Joliet?
in March, actually I can give you the date, March 20th of 2015 will be my 2-year anniversary from getting into this industry as an owner. So I didn't think I would move at this pace, but from the outset it was very important to me to do a project at home. So when I began to explore certain possibilities, I visited towns like Plainfield, New Lenox, and certainly in Frankfort even. But ultimately found myself standing in downtown Joliet, and it is this perfect storm, so to speak, with the infrastructure of Joliet that I certainly took a step back and appreciated. You have major highways, obviously intersecting throughout the city, but you also have a considerable downtown with major traffic in the courthouse from every day, a wonderful entertainment district which is complementary to hospitality, being Mojo's and the Rialto. There are a couple of other restaurants and bars, though I think, I am the biggest advocate for more and more competition, because more and more competition will bring more and more traffic to the area. But you add up all those factors, and this project became the #1 choice.
Yeah, and you have the added value of downtown Joliet. It's so nice to hear you say these things, because oftentimes you hear people say there's nothing in downtown Joliet. Why go to downtown Joliet? Well, there's business downtown Joliet. It's the county seat of Will County, and downtown Joliet has professional baseball. We've got the Route 66 going right through downtown Joliet. We've got the Joliet Historical Museum, the Route 66 center for the rest of the tour across the country is here in Joliet. There's so many things that will ancillarily help and support this restaurant and other restaurants coming into town, and other venues coming into town as well. I love what you say, the perfect storm, because it really is a perfectly good storm that's taking place with Joliet Junior College. Those kids, and I shouldn't say kids, of all ages, will start, I think, next year sometime with classes, and they just opened up a second location, University of St. Francis.
Yes.
And that's already making a difference on the south side of the downtown area. And you can't see, the blinds are shut right now, but there's a line about a half a block long getting into Mojo's. And the Mojo venue is everything from, metallic, from European bands to hip hop to Christian rock. They got everything over there, depending on what night they're. And Wednesday night, which is tonight, is usually the big night there. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Your restaurant, and we're going to take a tour, by the way. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to come through the door. You take us through a little tour. You did this before for me. We're going to do it now because it's all decorated, and it'll be decorated through probably New Year's, so you want to take advantage of it. We're going to give you a little bit of a tour. So take me on a tour. Take me through the front door and show us what we're going to see.
Well, as you come into the front door, what you're walking into is a sports bar. It may not have your standard sports bar feel to it, but it is definitely considered a more modern, contemporary sports bar, in the sense that You've got a long bar, shelf-to-ceiling stacked with assorted liquors, and are certainly an extensive bourbon, whiskey, and vodka selection for martinis. We've got 16 craft beer lines, which I'm proud of, from Three Floyds to the Bell's Revolution, a lot of strong craft beer, which has become more and more popular in the last few years, as opposed to your standard domestics. We've also got a number of TVs, big TVs, 80-inch, downstairs, which supports our wanting to create a little bit livelier of a sport atmosphere. As you tail to the end of the sports bar, you will see through some glass doors a pretty wild turn, in the sense that you're walking into a 1950s Italian classic restaurant. From your black and white checkered tile to your white linen place settings, which is certainly complementary with the food cuisine, which is obviously Italian inspired. From the dining room, we go back through the sports bar, up the stairs, and on our second floor, which we find ourselves seated now, there are a number of pockets for lounge seating. The idea and the hope is to provide a little bit more of an intimate setting to enjoy a cocktail, to whether you're waiting for your table downstairs, or you're just grabbing a drink after work or after dinner, well into the late night, celebrating a friend's birthday, a friend's bachelorette party. We've created little 6 to 10 person pockets. There are actually 3 lounge spaces. We also have a room for private events, catering, private dinners. We've hosted dinners of 40 and even corporate events of up to 85 people in the private rooms. And what I'll look forward to most come spring and in the summer is the balcony. The balcony with outdoor seating, but you're right on the corner of Chicago and Cass. We'll have plenty of seating available. I think we're fit up to 36 or 40 people. And we'll have a full lunch and dinner menu available to sit out under the stars.
Yeah, I've been out there before, and it's just perfect place. By the way, next year, it's also a perfect place to view the parade for light up the holidays. The other wonderful thing that you have up here that folks are going to discover is the wine bar.
Thank you for reminding me. Yes, the bar upstairs is a little different than the bar downstairs. The challenge in this space, because this is, and I don't feel bad saying it because I didn't build the building, but this is a beautiful building. It's a building with a ton of character. The brick complements the wood finishings and the beautiful tall ceilings. But it is a very big space, about approximately 10,000 square feet. So the challenge was, how do you fill all that different space? Yeah. And typically restaurateurs, when we can all imagine our few favorite spots, they're very consistent from the moment you walk in, through the whole space, and back out. But what we have here, we have a sports bar, we have a 1950s Italian dining room, we have lounge space upstairs. Those are not necessarily competing. I would like to think they're complementary, but they are different. So the bar, as you said, that we put up here is a wine bar. I have a 16 tap system where we will feature 16 different wines that you'll be able to essentially tap yourself and try all different reds and whites, not just from some of my favorite Italian regions for the red wines, but all over the country, most certainly too.
Well, you use the word tap. You seem to have tapped into two of the biggest trends going on in the country today: wine and craft beers. I mean, that's the day of having the shot in the beers is pretty much gone, unless it's a watermelon or melon shots or something like that. Right. It's a delight. And I 2 days ago, I had a meeting, and a couple of women were talking about, I think there's a high school reunion being planned. I was at a Rotary meeting, and they were talking about Juliet. And what's so interesting, you'll do marketing, you'll do your advertising, we're going to do this show, but of course the real search engines out there are satisfied customers. and I was listening in to conversations of satisfied customers. And, it's still new, and probably be new for a lot of years, because people would say, I didn't know that restaurant was down here. The woman was telling 3 or 4 other ladies about her experience. And they said, well, we didn't know it was down there. Is it okay and everything? She was talking about how convenient the parking is. And those of you who have just moved into the Joliet, Will County area, used to paying $23 or $10 for an hour and 23 and more past that 1 hour period, it's really tough, especially at lunchtime. You got to pay 50 cents an hour in the deck. And that's where you should park, by the way. It's safe and fine, and a half a block away from the restaurant. And there's parking on the streets as well. Now, let me ask you this. Let me go back to the hospitality. What kind of training, briefly, I don't have to don't give me a homily on this,
Please.
but what kind of training do you give? You talk about hospitality, and I'm intrigued with that, because there are 225 restaurants in Will County. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
There's 225 restaurants in Will County, and with the Venezuelan bowl opening up, it might be 226. Which is another new restaurant here in downtown Joliet. What makes this different? Is it the hospitality? Combination of things?
Well, I like to think that it's a wonderful combination, and now we'll return to our perfect storm, pretty much analogy, but the combination of fantastic decor. So now you have a staff who can really get behind their product. Our chef and our general manager are tops. I really spent a great deal of time searching for 2 perfect guys. So there is a lot to get behind. Now, from a hospitality perspective, I think that what we excel at the most is the experience. If you're coming out to Juliet's, we hope that, be it for a special occasion or just the opportunity to get out and enjoy a couple of cocktails and a meal, you're going to have a positive experience. You're going to be set somewhere a little bit more unique than your own dining room, and we're going to be able to accommodate perfectly.
Yeah. Well, we've already experienced the wait staff, which are great. And there's a couple of members of the wait staff that were other restaurants in Joliet, and I've had a chance to talk with them. They're so pleased, so happy, so excited about, they're probably not going to tell you this, but they told me this. They're just delighted to be working here, and everything's working out fantastic for them. And brand new wait staff here, and some of the folks that you have been at other restaurants, and you do rotate some of these people from time to time.
Yes. In the hospitality industry, turnover is a little bit more higher than perhaps other industries, but...
Well, I talked to a couple of the girls who were going to go to Hubbard Street, which is one of your restaurants in Chicago, for a day or 2 and then come back here. I've asked you this before. I'm going to see if he's changed his tune on this. What is your favorite, and what do you suggest and recommend folks who will be coming here for their first time?
Well, I'm a pasta man. This is the Italian concept was near and dear to my heart because I grew up eating pasta, if not every day, every other day. And how I managed to keep it off is
I was going to say pasta.
But my favorite pasta is the penne with vodka. It's got a rich, creamy vodka sauce. A penne is an easy noodle. What was important to me in developing the menu was to be broad enough because we are in a major city and we are downtown. So it's not simply an Italian concept as it's just pasta. We certainly have a complimentary lunch menu with burgers and sandwiches, but we have steak and seafood as well. And the reason I bring up seafood is, despite the first 28 years of my life, I wouldn't go near it. But now, every day I'm eating seafood. We've got a swordfish here that is fantastic. And for me, that was exotic, a swordfish, but we also have something called the Raw Bar, which basically comes from our menu. The Raw Bar is a happy hour special, but in this we're serving oysters, And I like to rotate my oysters. I like to bring them in West Coast, East Coast. Obviously, it's seasonal. But once you start getting into the mix
Is that a challenge to get, because people are so finicky about their oysters on half shells? I mean, how do you do that?
Well, that we rotate with frequency,
Okay.
so as to try to keep up with not only trends but preferences.
Yeah.
Because the more exotic you get, your tastes are going to alter pretty dramatically.
Good.
But
So you have oysters. Is this the thing with that shelf thing that I saw the other day? Is that what I'm talking about? The raw bar?
yes,
Okay.
right.
All
So
right.
the raw bar is. The raw bar is going to be a special we do on Thursdays and Fridays.
Okay.
It's going to be right on the center of our bar. And from oysters to crab legs, lobster meat, and shrimp cocktail, everything is, I believe the oysters are $1 and the crab meat and the lobster is $2. But the price point is meant to be low just during happy hour. So the idea is after work, you
Yeah.
come in, you grab a pint, you enjoy some seafood, don't want to necessarily fill up before dinner, but you pick apart
Yeah.
and you spend $3 or $4
Yeah. Wow.
and you're experiencing
I don't
some
think
different
there's
seafood.
not many restaurants where you're going to stop in after work and have oysters in Will County, to my knowledge. At $1 oyster, I don't think that's quite a nice happy hour special. All right, let's talk about. We'll put up on the screen, but you can let the folks know the website, because you have more information. We don't have the time to go through everything here, but there is a website and a phone number.
Yes, www.julietstavern.com, and the phone number is 815-630-5654.
That was not rehearsed. I'm impressed because we didn't rehearse this. He's got 5 restaurants. Do they all have the same number?
They don't, and that's why disclaimer, that number it probably is correct.
It's
but-
probably correct. We'll have it up on the screen for you. All right. Well, you have any future plans for this restaurant? Anything coming up in the future, the horizon that we can, we will, just between the two of us here?
Yeah, sure. No, I am. We opened in the beginning of October, and when I first opened, I didn't come out aggressive because it was more important to me to stabilize the staff and the kitchen and make sure they felt comfortable,
Sure.
as opposed to coming out being overly busy and never being able to accommodate necessarily. Now that we've really got grounded, and I really do believe that, we're unveiling a number of specials and promotions. And I don't use that word loosely. Something is special for a reason. Sometimes restaurants will discount something nominal and call it a special because they want to feature it. If I'm putting a special out there, it's going to be special. So we will unveil. We've actually started to unveil a number of those. A couple of the favorites on Tuesdays and Wednesdays during happy hour. You get a pretty big burger, a shot of bourbon, and a beer. Our BBB special for $10.99. All you can eat pasta on Wednesday for $10.99. I think that's also the same night we're doing half price bottles of wine. Now those are considerable discounts, certainly
Yes, they
over
are.
your standard
Yeah.
margins.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to get people to come in here because I really believe in the space. I am a very big advocate and supporter of Joliet, and I'm very excited for downtown Joliet. I look forward to building out the patio business, and without necessarily going too great into detail, I will most certainly have at least one new concept that will open up downtown here as well.
Very good. The other restaurants that are just the other side of that camera, up on the north side of Joliet, way north of Joliet actually, a little bit east, you've got 4 other restaurants.
So in River North, which is downtown, right next to the Loop, next to the river, a block off the river, I've got Hubbard Inn. It is a beautiful 3 stories, European share plates. We do. It's an eclectic space, but we service the local business community, given all the high-rise traffic. If you travel now down the road onto Wells Street, you're going to end up in Old Town, which is a historic hospitality and entertainment district, where on Wells I have Pomp and Circumstance. It's a farm-to-table restaurant. You go down Wells and down Lincoln Avenue, you're going to see Lincoln Avenue Social. That is a Lincoln Avenue Social is a sports bar. It's pretty much on the campus of DePaul.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
2 blocks down is Barn and Company, is a barbecue restaurant. We've got award-winning Chicago's best barbecue wings. We've been featured as the #3 sports bar in the city from the Sun-Times and Thrillist. And then if you get down onto Lakeshore Drive, you go all the way to its end into Rogers Park, you'll stumble upon 63, which is right on Loyola University's campus. And that's an Americano-inspired menu. It's a pizza parlor.
Yeah.
So
great, right off campus. Can't miss
yeah,
with that.
that's right.
All right. Well, we will be visiting with Carmen Rossi from time to time because you obviously can see that in 2 years' time, 5 restaurants and more coming in. If I wait another 6 months to a year, who knows? Well, I know one thing. We're going to find out about this concept he's talking about in my next interview with Carmen Rossi. But now here's what you need to do. You need to come on down here to Chicago and Cass, downtown Joliet, lunch, dinner, and you could probably, even after New Year's, you could still have, because it gets crowded and maybe your business schedule doesn't allow it, have the New Year's party after New Year's. Who knows? It could be a fun time. It is going to get cold again. Today, I think we actually reached 39. We're running around with our shirts off. And this is the place for upstairs, for great banquets, great times, and wonderful memories and fantastic hospitality. I think we deserve you, sir.
Thank
We've
you.
been waiting a long time for a great restaurateur to come into Joliet. Now we have it. Carmen Rossi and Juliet. I'm Richard Fredrickson. We'll see you next time.